the architecture that rewarded delay over truth. Some systems are not designed to reveal problems. They are designed to postpone them. And postponement can look like success. In London's financial world, delay became structural, not as deception, but as design. This matters now because modern finance still rewards timing over clarity. Problems are not denied. They are deferred, shifted forward until they become someone else's concern. Early finance dealt with consequences immediately. Losses were felt quickly. Errors were corrected painfully. But as institutions grew, time became negotiable. Losses could be spread across years. Responsibility could be diluted across structures. Accounting rules allowed flexibility. Valuations reflected expectation, not outcome. Recognition followed convenience. At first, this reduced volatility. Markets appeared calmer. Earnings looked smoother. But smoothing reality changed incentives. Truth that arrived slowly felt less urgent. Delayed recognition softened reaction. Structures evolved to optimize this delay. Special vehicles absorbed pressure. Deferred losses protected appearances. Complex arrangements extended timelines. Delay became profitable, not because problems disappeared, but because they stopped interrupting momentum. Institutions learned that markets punish a prize more than weakness. Gradual erosion attracts less attention than sudden correction. This encouraged a specific behavior. Stretch the timeline, manage perception, avoid sharp disclosure. Truth was not rejected. It was rescheduled, and rescheduling consequences reshaped risk itself. Because risk that unfolds slowly is easier to ignore. This was the architecture that formed quietly, one that rewarded patience over honesty, continuity over correction, and once embedded, it became difficult to dismantle because delay felt responsible, even when it wasn't. As delay proved effective, it spread through the system, not as a loophole, but as accepted practice. Institutions learned how to manage time strategically. Losses were reclassified, impairments postponed, assumptions extended. This created breathing room. But breathing room can become avoidance. Performance was judged quarterly. Consequences unfolded annually. Accountability drifted further into the future. Markets rewarded consistency, not accuracy. Executives optimized narratives. Earnings smoothed perception. Volatility was framed as mismanagement. This reframed truth. Immediate honesty became disruptive. Delay became disciplined. Risk committees focused on solvency, not timing. As long as institutions survived, postponement felt justified. But delay changed behavior. It reduced urgency. It encouraged rollover. Problems were not solved. They were transferred, often to less visible parts of the system. Special structures absorbed pressure quietly. Guarantees deferred recognition. Complexity extended timelines. This architecture relied on one assumption: that time would remain available. But time is not neutral. It accumulates risk while hiding it. Delayed losses do not shrink. They compound. The longer recognition is postponed, the fewer options remain. This produced stability in appearance and fragility in structure. Participants believed they were managing risk responsibly. They were managing optics, and optics influence behavior. If markets see calm, they behave calmly. This reinforced delay further. The absence of reaction validated postponement until conditions changed, and time ran out simultaneously, because systems built on delay fail when deadlines converge, and convergence was inevitable. When convergence arrived, it did not announce itself. Deadlines simply stopped moving. Assumptions met reality at the same time. Valuations required confirmation. Guarantees required execution. Deferrals reached their limits. What had been staggered suddenly aligned. Losses recognized together. Obligations surfaced simultaneously. Choices narrowed instantly. This is the danger of delay-based architecture. It creates the illusion of control, while concentrating future pressure. Institutions faced compressed decisions. There was no time to adapt gradually, only to react. Markets that had absorbed slow erosion calmly responded violently to sudden truth. Confidence reversed faster than it had formed, because delayed recognition removes context. Participants had not adjusted expectations over time. They had been protected from information. When reality appeared, it felt extreme. Structures designed to buy time now demanded resolution. Support mechanisms activated at once. Contingencies overlapped. The system struggled to prioritize which losses mattered first, which promises could wait. Delay had removed sequencing. Everything arrived together. This forced blunt responses, wide interventions, broad revaluations, rapid reassessment of credibility. Institutions discovered that postponement does not reduce consequence. It removes flexibility. Flexibility depends on early recognition, on incremental correction, on truth arriving while options still exist. Instead, truth had been deferred until options converged. This was not deception exposed. It was design tested, and design failed under compression. The markets learned an uncomfortable lesson. Time cannot be manufactured indefinitely. Eventually, it demands payment. And when payment is due, it rarely arrives alone. When the system finally adjusted, it did so abruptly, not because the problems were new, but because they could no longer be delayed. Markets were forced to reprice reality all at once. Trust recalibrated sharply. Confidence reset without transition. The architecture that rewarded delay now demanded immediacy. Institutions learned that postponement is not resilience. It is a wager on time, and time does not negotiate. The lesson was not to reject structure. Structure is necessary. The lesson was to align structure with truth. Transparency, once seen as destabilizing, became a stabilizer. Early disclosure allowed gradual adjustment. Systems began valuing early recognition, not because it felt comfortable, but because it preserved choice. London's markets did not abandon complexity. They re-examined how complexity interacted with time. Delay is no longer celebrated as prudence. It is treated as risk. Truth, when introduced early, loses its shock. When postponed, it gains force. This understanding reshaped governance quietly. Deadlines were shortened. Assumptions challenged sooner. Narratives tested against outcomes. The future remains uncertain, but uncertainty is easier to manage when it is acknowledged early. The most durable systems are not those that defer reality longest. They are those that absorb it continuously. That shift continues to define modern finance, and it leaves us with a final reflection. Sometimes the smallest shift in perspective becomes the beginning of a new future. The arc